about my city, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and mossy oak and mud holes. And back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads. And out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, Southern pride, towing gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Live.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, backwoods when they ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Title Town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and geekies. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, Title Town license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty. You hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, backwoods when we ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Title Town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Moonshine and whiskey.
Some folks really don't understand how important it is and never forget where you came from. You know, when I say Lowndes County, man, I mean Lowndes County.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, backwoods when we ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Title Town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
What's up, all you sports fans all across this fantastic state of Georgia? Welcome to our celebration of the nation. Yes, you heard that right. We are on the front end of a rebranding of the show. We do that on occasion just to keep things fresh. So over the next several months, you're going to see, really should see a shift gradually to begin with, more of an opinion-based show, not just for me, but it's going to have lots of different personalities from all across the state. That's our goal anyway. So the different personalities are going to be really super fans representing a lot of different teams out there and media types from all around the region and the state to expand our discussion, to give us more of a focus on Lowndes County, Titletown, Valdosta, all these area teams right here. Why keep it to ourselves? Let's expand it and put the focus on us so people all across the state can see what a great area that we live in. So in the meantime, I want to say welcome to our city. This is Titletown. Turn it up so they can hear it loud, as the song says. So soon, people all across the state is going to be focused on Lowndes County. So I know there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the news tonight that's capturing a lot of people's attention and imagination. Some people like it, some people don't. We're not going to get into all that. We're going to focus on what we do best, and that's high school football and high school athletics. So we got a pretty good jam-packed agenda for the show tonight. We're going to have a couple of guests that have been on the show before, but it's been quite a while since they've been back. Two valued members of the media out there. One is Phil Jones. You guys recognize the name Phil Jones. Doesn't really need an introduction, right? He's got some really good insight. You know, he comes from the background of ITG Next, and they do a fantastic job of covering really the high school athletics, specifically the high school football landscape all across the state. And so Phil's got some really, really good insight of the new Region 1-6A as we enter the fall football campaign. And just between us, I'm going to try my very best to coax a prediction for the region title out of Phil Jones tonight. You know, Phil likes to be diplomatic, but I'm going to try my best just to coax it out of him a little bit. So if we have time, I'll also ask Phil his take on NIL. That's the name, image, licensing type of deal that's taking the sports world by storm. And now it's here in the state of Georgia, even at the high school level, because Phil's got an interesting article where he interviewed a number of head coaches from different parts of the state and gets their take. Some of those opinions were what I expected. Some of those opinions were, well, you have to just wait and see how it's all going to shake out. But there was one in particular, it's like, yeah, I don't know if this is such a good deal. It may have already affected high school football adversely. So I'll ask Phil on his take on that. So not to stop there. So after the segment with Phil, I'll have a long-time friend / antagonist of the show, Cole Moore. He's going to be joining us after Phil's segment. So he's going to be talking about the new Region 2-5A that includes TCC, Lee County, and Coffee County this year. He's going to be talking about what TCC has coming up, their strengths, their challenges, that kind of stuff. Why do we care about TCC? Because Lowndes has got a showdown with TCC in the fall this year in our fall scrimmage. I know it's a scrimmage, but we're talking about a fall preseason scrimmage, and a lot of people around here put a lot of focus on those types of things. And plus, it's for bragging rights. And you know how Cole likes to kind of poke the bear called Lowndes every once in a while. So we'll have Cole. We'll have a good time interviewing him tonight. And then, of course, we'll have our fellow superfan, Armand Rashad, that'll be joining us a little bit later on the show. All right. So that's the agenda for tonight. We're going to have a good time. So you guys stay tuned. Let me go ahead and let Phil know that I'm about to bring him onto the screen. This is the first time. Phil's been on the show before, but usually as a call-in guest. So we're introducing Phil to the modern day technology of Zoom and using our technology, that kind of stuff. So I'm just giving Phil a hard time. Phil, how are you, buddy? Oh, I already got you in the penalty box, man. Let me unmute your mic. How are you, man? Let's try this again. Phil Jones, take 2.
Larry, how's it going, brother? Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. No problem. How things going in your world? I know it's the quote unquote off season, but is there really an off season for ITG Next and Phil Jones?
You know, really, everybody I think knows about ITG Next. You know, we're all high school sports all the time, but I'll tell you, high school football is without a doubt, it's the lion's share of what we do and what we report on and what we talk about. And to no one's surprise, Larry, high school football has become a year-round business for us. It used to be where we had the 3 to 4 months of, high school football, and then things would kind of back down. And that has changed completely now, especially this last year. It truly has become, a 12-month endeavor for us.
That's right. Well, good deal, man. I appreciate you joining us on the show tonight, man. Let's get into some football talk. One of the things that has really been energizing our show the last several weeks is, Phil, we've been talking about the new Region 1-6A. And yes, if you guys are just now joining us for a long time tonight, or for the first time in a while, we're entering the new season as a 1-6A member because the state has contracted, basically done away with the 7A class, really brought the band back together, Phil, with Tift County joining us now. We got Richmond Hill over on the coast. So it's going to be a pretty competitive region, even though there's a lot of shakeup in the region. Let me just go down the list, Phil, and get your take on some teams specifically, because I know you talk to a lot of coaches over there on the coast. Let's go ahead and start in the bottom right-hand corner of the state with Camden County. It's no secret that long-time, state championship coach in Jeff Herron, really did a fantastic job of building that program, then came back and resurrected. Is that a good word, what he did with Camden? He resurrected that football program and then brought it back to prominence again?
No doubt. I think that's a perfect word. When Bob Spire came in following Jeff Herron and Weldon Coffee,
Yeah.
Bob Spire pretty much did away with the run heavy wing T offense. We all know about that. Now they had some pretty good years there, but nothing like what Herron had experienced. And now with Herron back, 3 years back, he goes through a transition year, getting Camden back to a run heavy offense that first year.
Yeah.
Second year, they make a lot of improvements, Larry. And then this last year, 10-win season. They knock off the defending state champion Mill Creek. Had some big wins. We all know about that. So he leaves Camden in really good shape. And they've got a new head coach now, Travis Rowland, who comes in from Daytona Beach, Florida, Mainland High School. And so I think they are really poised to continue what Jeff Herron has left them with last year.
Now, I'm going to ask you the obvious question when it comes to Travis Nolan coming in. Presumably he's got a totally different offensive scheme than a wing T heavy Jeff Herron. When Camden tried that transition with Bob Spire, it didn't go too well, or didn't go as expected. Do you think it's going to be a repeat of the Bob Spire experiment, or does Travis Nolan have his own way of speeding up the process? Because Camden, they're used to being on top, and their fans probably aren't going to be too patient with that.
Well, that's an interesting question, and only time's going to tell.
Yeah.
And let's go back and revisit that. Herron leaves Camden, and again, whether you like the wing T or not, Herron was able to make it work.
Yeah,
at Camden. All the region championships, a couple of state championships. We all know about that.
Yep.
And then Spire come in, didn't do a bad job, but it was a tantamount shift.
Yeah. Major paradigm shift.
No doubt. So, I think Herron had to face that again when he comes back, had that transition year where they really struggled. Gave up a lot of points, couldn't score many points. But to answer your question, only time's going to tell. But I think Travis Rowland is going to – he knows what worked last year. And he and I have talked about this. He knows what worked last year. I think he's going to – and I'm asking point blank, are you going to keep the run-heavy offense? I think what he's going to do, he's going to keep some parts of it that really worked. He's not going to totally abandon it, I think, like Bob Spire did. But he's definitely going to put – his imprint on it with more of a passing game, a wide open offense. And listen, they've got probably one of the most exciting offensive players in Elias Williams, 5-star tight end, number one.
What is he like? He came over here last year and had a pretty big game. What is he like? 8'7", something like that.
He's a big boy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And he's recruited. He's committed to the University of Georgia. And here's another thing. I want to talk about Camden real quick. So you've got the quarterback, Drew Randall, who in a run-heavy offense, may be surprised, he passed for almost 1,200 yards last year, 15 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So they got him coming back. They've got their whole offensive line coming back. You got the Williams kid coming back like we just talked about. So you've got a lot of returning talent, again, from a team that did well last year, played in some pretty big games, a lot of talent, a lot of experience. And I think that's going to be the difference, Larry, to go back to your first question about what's going to be the difference between now and when Bob Spire come in.
Okay. So you think that experience, especially, maybe I don't know how many seniors they have coming back, but a lot of maturity coming back, that's going to help that transition process run a little bit smoother this time. That's what you're basically saying?
That is correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so we move up the coast to Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill the last couple of years has taken a lot of people by surprise. There's a lot of pride. You would agree with this statement. There's a lot of pride in this region on playing smash mouth football, and it's typically the big three at the top, right? Lowndes, Valdosta, Colquitt. Sometimes there's a rotation of musical chairs who's going to be on top. And then this upstart, Richmond Hill, comes in. We expect to kind of push them around a little bit. And we went over to their place last year. I'm talking Lowndes specifically, and they didn't just beat us; they whooped us. So was that a matter of teams in the region took them or underestimated them, or was it they're just that good?
Maybe a combination of both.
Okay.
That game that you're referencing, the Lowndes game at Richmond Hill, that was our ITG Next game of the week. Larry, you've done some of these games with me before. We do a game of the week every week somewhere around the state. That was our game that week. And I'm going to tell you, it was not a fluke. Richmond Hill came out, played well. They also played Grayson tough.
Yeah.
They played Ware County tough, and I'm talking about Richmond Hill. So they're learning how to win.
Yeah.
And I think that game against Lowndes, although the next week they lost a game to Colquitt County by 35 points, but that game against Lowndes gave them some confidence, and I think that's transcending to this year. Their spring game, they played against Effingham, and I don't want to make too much about spring games. Just a lot of people do that. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
But Effingham's coach, Coach Ford, told me, and he's coached at Buford, he coached Roswell. He told me, he said, Richmond Hill is going to be a team to be dealt with this year. Ooh. And if anybody takes them lightly, they're going to learn that the hard way. I think that they're going to be the surprise team that nobody sees coming this year, Richmond Hill.
Yeah, so they're going to have to play 3 big games on the road this year. They're going to go to Camden, they're going to go to Lowndes, and they're going to go to Moultrie. That's 3 long road trips. Yep. So I know you're high on Richmond Hill. I'm just not quite there yet. So,
and I think I think that's probably going to be the case. It's going to have to be, a show me situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a little time out here and bring onto the screen, Phil, one of our regular super fans, a guy named Armand Rashad. He used to be, in his day, he was a star athlete for the Lowndes Vikings football team. Now he's old like us, and he just loves to talk about Lowndes football. So I'm going to bring him onto the screen. He's a big Georgia guy too, so that's a big plus.
Very good.
Armand, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I had a root canal today, but I've never been better. But I'm still smiling, still blessed, and thanks for the kind words. I don't know if I was a star athlete at Lowndes, but I had some great players around me, like a young Jay Ratliff, a young Sweet Pea. In my class, I had Brandon Coward, C.J. Lofton, Morris Lane, Dennis Lane, Tim Harris. Just they allowed me to be great.
Gotcha.
Great cast around me. So all my successes is just a byproduct of them being great. So
I gotcha. Armand, we got Phil Jones on the screen with us. I'm sure you've heard of and watched his shows that he does over there at ITG Next. What we're doing is we're going around the nation. We're going around the region, the new Region 16A. Phil's giving us his insight on the different teams. So, man, feel free to jump in if you got questions for Phil. He's a big boy, and he doesn't mind scrapping with us.
Yeah, matter of fact, I heard them talking about Richmond Hill, and like you, Larry, I'm not quite sold on them, but I will say that they got a lot returning, and they were kind of scrappy. We can't really say too much because they beat our brains in that night up there, but. It's a different team. It's a different year. And the one thing I could say is that, like, if you have a program that doesn't really have a winning tradition, all it takes is 1 or 2 years to get that ball rolling, and you get the kids to believe.
Yeah.
Once they believe, they go from hoping to win to expecting to win.
Yeah.
And that might be what Richmond Hill, because they've had 2 solid seasons back to back. So
Well, what's Phil? Jump in here. What's different about Richmond Hill coming into this season is the last couple of years, what about 75% of their offensive production has been in the hands of one person, one guy.
Yeah, Nick Bliss. I think he scored like 75% of their touchdowns last year.
Well, I think he scored like 2,000 of them against us.
Yeah, he is a fourth, but he's no longer there. But, this is going to open up opportunities, though, for some other key guys. They got their starting quarterback coming back. They've got their second and third leading running backs coming back, second and third leading wide receiver. And I say second and third because Nick Bliss was the leader in rushing, receiving, and he even played quarterback some out of the Wildcat. But they've got a lot of good talent coming back. And look, I get it with Richmond Hill, and it's natural to be reluctant to want to step up and predict them to do anything until they prove themselves. I get that fully.
All right, listen. Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot because you are on a Lounge show. So I got to ask you, when Richmond Hill comes to Lowndes on October 25th, who walks away the victor?
I would say right now it's probably going to be Lowndes.
Okay. I was prepared to put you in the penalty box, man.
Well, I'll tell you why, and I'll explain why, and I've got a good reason, I think.
Okay.
Lowndes is going to remember that was a bad spanking that Lowndes took.
Yeah,
I don't know if Armand heard me talking about it. That was our game. We did that game last year over there. I mean, it was total domination from start to finish. Adam Carter will admit that. Everybody, all the Lowndes people will. I think Lowndes is going to have that game circled. Adam Carter is going to remind his guys all season long about that game and what happened last year. And I think it's going to be at the Concrete Palace. That's going to be a big difference. And Larry, you mentioned the travel.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough to make that
that's
cross.
That's a long trip, man. That's what, a 3-hour plus trip?
Every bit.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So before we go to the next game or the next team, let's check out our comment line tonight. So we got Cole Moore that's heckling us tonight, waiting for his turn to come on to the screen. We got Kenneth Hurst checking us out. And Phil, we've got I'm going to call Rosser Sutherland like a Phil Jones groupie. Is that fair? Rosser, I'm just kidding, my brother. I'm just kidding.
I love Rosser, man. He's a Marietta Blue Devil.
He's a Marietta Blue Devil. I've seen him on your show before in the comment section. So
we've done several games at Northcutt Stadium as part of our game of the week. And Rosser always yells up at me when we're doing the game there. By the way, great place if you've never been to Northcutt Stadium.
Yeah.
Fantastic place to watch a football game.
It is a fantastic venue, but every time I've gone there with my Lowndes Vikings, we've lost. So I'm not very fond of that stadium.
Understood.
That big old Indian they got on that, was it the north end zone out there? They used to have the largest digital screen in the state. Is it still that way? It's a pretty large scoreboard.
Okay. Now, are you talking about McEachern?
Oh, I was talking about McEachern. Yes. Yeah.
But so McEachern used to have it. That distinction now belongs to Norcross.
That's right.
Norcross has the biggest video board in the country.
That's right.
As far as high school, and they've got the second biggest overall behind the University of Alabama.
Is it bigger than Tift County's?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and continue down. So we're going to go across country to Tift County. So Tift County's rejoining the region with a brand new head coach, and it's a very good head coach in Jeff Littleton. Does Jeff Littleton have, maybe that's a bad way of characterizing this question. Is he going to be able to not just resurrect that program to being competitive again, but is it going to unite the community behind it?
Yes.
Yes to both of those.
He will reunite the community. There's been a lot of hurt there, as we all know, for a lot of different reasons. Some fair, some not fair to the previous coach. Okay, but let's talk about it from a very simple standpoint.
Okay,
he's coming into a tough situation. Really, nowhere to go but up.
Yep.
But you're talking about taking over a program where you're losing your top quarterback, who's now the quarterback at Alcorn State, Chris. What's Chris' last name? His name escapes me right now.
Chris Martin?
Yeah, Chris Martin. Thank you. Damian Moe, one of the top rushers in the region, and he's gone. Great running back. And then their top wide receiver also graduated. So you lose your 3 top skill position players on offense.
Yeah.
So he's inheriting a tough situation to begin with, and then you've got some top talent not returning. it'll definitely be a transition year. But Jeff Littleton, I think, is the right, perfect guy to come in there and take over that program.
I gotcha. Okay. So, this is a little side note, but do you think Bainbridge, they just keep being Bainbridge, or is it going to take them a couple of years to recover from losing Jeff Littleton?
I think it's going to take a couple of years. And again, Jay Walls, and here's the irony.
Yeah.
So Jay Walls is the new head coach, the former Tiff County coach.
That's right.
Small world here.
It's a small, especially in high school football, man. Listen, don't ever make fun of a head coach because he could be your head coach tomorrow.
That's right. That's a great advice, Larry. Great advice. But I think Jay Walls in time, I think both of those moves for both of those programs, Tiff with Littleton. Remember what he did in 2018? Bainbridge finished 5-5, and they went 5-0 in the playoffs and won the state championship.
They sure did, man. They sure did. So, okay. So, do you expect Tiff County to contend this year or no? I'm expecting Tiff to be better than they have been in the last several years under Noel Dean. But do you think that he's going to be able to put that thing on speed dial and make them a contender quickly?
Well, it depends on what you mean by quickly. I don't think it's going to come this year, but I think next season he'll have Tiff much better and in a position to compete for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
I agree with Phil. Like, just let me jump in. Like, they're gonna have to, like I say, it's a rebuilding process up there in Tiff County, and you are, for the most part, starting from scratch. And he's coming in. He's gonna have to get the kids to buy into his philosophy.
Yeah.
Going to have to get the community to buy into the program and reinvest into the program. When I say reinvest, I'm not talking monetarily. I'm talking about reinvesting emotionally, showing that support. And once that happens, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but in about 3 years, this guy's track record has shown that he could build a program and he could build a winner. So.
Yep.
Well, I'm just looking at this, man. They've got a pretty tough schedule this year, including their non-region schedule, Phil. I mean, it would not surprise me if they're subpar 500 this year.
Going to open up at Griffin.
Yeah.
Hello. Of course, everybody's going to be watching when they go back to Bainbridge. And Larry, if you have the schedule there, you'll know that date. That's going to be one to watch.
Yeah. Listen to the schedule. They open up at Griffin. They host Gaston County, Florida. Then they host Lee County. Then they're at Bainbridge. They host Houston County, and then they start their region schedule.
Yeah, they're going to have a pretty good idea of what kind of team they have before the very first region game.
But you know what? I love that tough non-region schedule. Even if you go 0-4, I mean 1-4, 0-5, whatever. If it exposes your weaknesses early on and you use it as a teaching opportunity to get better and prepare for your region schedule, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Now, the typical fan probably doesn't see it that way.
And Jeff Littleton is the epitome of that. His favorite saying, Jeff Littleton's, is, "It's not how you start, it's how you finish." And if you look at his track record the last few years at Bainbridge, how many times were they 1-3, 1-4,
right,
0-2? But they always finished with a flourish.
Mm. Okay, so let's go a little bit southwest of Tifton and visit the Colquitt County Packers. Now, are you one of these guys that say Colquitt is down and out? They graduated everybody and their brother, or is it Colquitt's going to be Colquitt and they're not rebuilding, they're reloading? Which side of the fence are you on, Phil?
So I see Armand over there shaking his head. I think, it would be a very dangerous thing to discount and count Colquitt County out. Yeah, they lost a lot, lose their starting quarterback, starting running back. Well, not starting running back. Let me take that back. They lose their top tight end in Landon Thomas. They lose Nye Carr. Remember, both of those guys were the only two AJC Super 11 guys to be from the same team.
Gotcha.
And that's saying something. But that's a lot to lose, a lot to replace. But Colquitt has had one of the best feeder systems in place for a long time. So they're going to have the ability to reload. Now, they're not going to be as good because they lost just so much. I think it's Larry, you and I were talking before the show. I think you said the number, 16 of 22 starters or something?
17 out of 22 starters. That's a lot.
That is a lot. That is a lot. But I think it's a dangerous thing to say, and a lot of people have been saying this, especially after the spring game, the spring scrimmage. It was a very controlled scrimmage that they had. I know because we were there. ITG Next was there, where they played Coffee. And a lot of people came out of that game saying Colquitt's in trouble. Colquitt's in trouble.
That's right.
Look, do not take a lot from a controlled scrimmage. I think that's a dangerous thing to do.
I agree with you 100%, man. Now, am I ready to crown Colquitt County as the region champs this year? No, I think I'm trying to be as objective as possible, coming from a Lowndes fan. But I think Colquitt's probably, if I had to put odds on it, I'm putting him in the 4th seed this year.
Really?
Yep. So Michael Fowler, did you hear that? I know he's a big Packer fan. He got the Packer hog heads over there in the comment line. Listen, this might be called the Viking Nation, but I think the Field Nation is taking over the show tonight because we got Michael Fowler following us over here, Michael Baxter, Obadiah Farley, Cole Moore is a Field groupie, Chris Pace.
Cole Moore is your guy, man.
That's right. That's right. All right, so let's go Valdosta, Phil. Valdosta for the last 2 years has had a heck of I'll just put it this way. They've had a heck of a defense for the last 2 years, but they've graduated a lot of talent from that defensive side of the ball. Now, some people say that the offense is going to make up for their lack of production on the defensive side this year. So what do you think? You think Valdosta is a serious contender for the region crown this year?
Absolutely.
Okay. What makes you say that?
A lot of talent. I saw Todd Robinson, their starting quarterback, 2 years ago at the Wintersville Classic at Martin Stadium. And I was so impressed with that young man.
Yeah.
I came back to the office the next day and wrote a story about him. And I pretty much said, boy, I have seen the future about Valdosta football, and it's Todd Robinson.
Okay.
He has become one of the most highly recruited players in this state. He was initially recruited by Troy as a defensive back, but now you've got all the D1 colleges that have come out. They recognize his skill, his speed. They say speed kills, and he's got it.
Well, he's got the metrics that these D1 programs look for. He's got the large body size. He's got the speed and agility. And so they can do a lot with an athlete like that,
Yes, they can.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Like Todd is a legit 4'5", 4'4", legit laser time guy. He has everything that you want in an athlete. And as from someone who has a very high level of disdain of all things black and gold, I have to tip my hat to him and say that's an athlete. And when I think about Valdosta, I think the key to Valdosta's success, Todd Robinson is going to help to contain him.
Yeah.
Right? He's that type of athlete. Contain him. But what Valdosta is going to miss is Brantley, because when Brantley was there, you had to double team him. And so when he was double teamed, that freed up a lot of other players to make plays.
Right.
So now Brantley's gone. Who fills that role? Or is it, that's who fills that role and how do they adjust? I think they got a good coaching staff over there, and I think they'll find a way, but that's going to be the key defensively, because if you can't stop them, like Valdosta's offense, as good as, Todd Robinson is, as good as those running backs are, if you can't stop anybody, right, your offense is going to falter eventually. And if you can't stop anybody, that'll be your Achilles heel. So we'll have to see how they do without Brantley.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think their offense is going to be enough to take them to the top. Now, I made a prediction about 3 weeks ago, Armand, on this show, and I think you remember that. I said the Wintersville Classic is going to be the last regular season game of the year this year between Lowndes and Valdosta. And that game, in my opinion, is going to be for the region crown. So now, as soon as I'm going to ask Phil now to turn his attention to Lowndes, Phil, where do you think Lowndes stacks up in this new region?
Again, I think Lowndes is going to be better than people are giving them credit for. You know, they lost a lot. Coleman Lewis is coming back, one of the best linebackers in the state. I think he's led Lowndes in tackles last couple of years. He'll be back.
Back-to-back state baseball champion, by the way.
Absolutely. 100%.
Fantastic athlete. To your point, he's a great athlete.
Yeah, nominated him, by the way. Yesterday, we have our ITG Next vote for Athlete of the Year.
Oh,
and I nominated him. Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely. But anyway, but you know, you've got four returning starters on offense. I think coming back, Larry, correct? You probably know this better than I do. I think you got about 6 guys coming back on defense. But again, going to be young. But I can tell you something. Adam Carter is a great motivator. He told me, got a lot of young guys who did a lot of growing up last year. They got a lot of playing time, took their lumps. We know about that. But he thinks that those guys are going to be a lot better for it. And I think Lowndes is going to be a team to watch. Guys, this region is going to be just so, I think it's going to be the great equalizer this year across the, from top to bottom. I think besides Tift County, I would not count anybody out.
All right. So, Phil, I've let you go on long enough. He's going into the penalty box for that one. I served it up to him on a silver platter, saving Lowndes for last. He knows this is a Lowndes heavy audience. And it's like, I even prepped him, Armand, before the show. It's like, Phil, you got to play to the crowd, man. Play to the crowd. So anyway, welcome to the penalty box, Phil.
But I think Phil is hitting the nail around the head. It's like Lowndes, they lost some, but they got a lot of players that played a lot last year. They got some. The offensive line is where it seemed like the Achilles heel was as far as the offense. Defense, I've said it time and time again, they seem a little bit more comfortable in their roles. The fact that you got you're moving Marvis around, he's just you got another athlete at quarterback. You got Jalen Carter, who just checked in, by the way. But you got Jalen Carter out there. You got Sifa. You got a lot of weapons that Lowndes has. And I think that Lowndes, I think it's going to come back. When you think about the region, I can remember when I was in school, it was we play Moultrie, we play Valdosta, and that was decide the region. Yeah. So I think the big three will be one of the region champions. I don't think it's going to be anybody but Lowndes.
Listen. That I know you're a Lowndes guy, but I'm putting you in the penalty box too. I don't want to hear that one of the big three is going to be region champion, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to make a prediction live and in color right here on the Viking Nation, right? Lowndes will be your region champion this year. There you go. Daryl Brent, big Valdosta guy, just checking in. Go ahead and spread the news across Titletown. Tell all your Wildcat friends, Lowndes will be the region champion this year.
But Larry, you put me in the penalty box, but my predictions every year never changes. Lowndes will win state. Georgia will win the national championship.
You were just trying to be more tactful about it than I was,
I'm just saying it never changes, but I'm just trying. But I'm giving credit where credit is due.
I understand. I understand.
Those two programs over there, they're top notch, and they're going to continue to produce. So, I think when the all boils down to it, I got Lowndes by 20 over everybody they play.
Lowndes by 20. I love it.
Right.
Well, Phil, we went a little bit long on the segment that I'd planned with you, man. I appreciate you joining us tonight, dude. Guys, if you don't check out,
can I give you my region champ?
Oh, I forgot. I told you I was going to ask you. I was going to put you on the spot. Who's your region champ for the new Region 16A?
Yeah, it'll come down between Camden and Colquitt County this year.
Oh my God. What in the world, man?
I was just starting to like you, Phil.
Listen. See, Armand was starting to like you. I liked you, but I'm starting to back off. Like, what in the world, man?
Love y'all, man. Hey, Armand, great to meet you, brother. Enjoyed it.
Too, man. And come back.
I will.
Please come back.
Larry, thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, before you go, we got a lot of fans tonight that are checking us out. Are you doing a weekly show during the off season?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Is that on Monday or Tuesday nights?
Yeah, Monday night right now, and we're probably going to go to 2 nights a week once football season gets a little bit closer. So, but right now, Monday night or Monday afternoon at 5:00 at ITG Next Georgia's Facebook page.
Fantastic. Guys, if you can't get enough football, check out obviously our show, but check out Phil's show on Monday nights at ITG Next on Facebook as well.
Thank you, Larry.
Appreciate you being here tonight, Phil.
Thank you, guys.
See you, man.
Have a good night.
All right. Man, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was fun. Now, Phil, I love having Phil on the show, but I could not run the risk of putting Phil and Cole Moore on the screen together because I would never get a word in edgewise. Because those two guys I consider them experts in their own right? So let me go ahead and bring in the other guy that I just referenced, and that's Cole Moore. How are you, Mr. Moore?
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing today, fellas?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you joining the show tonight.
The kind words, man. I really appreciate the expert. I've been trying to tell people for years I know what I'm talking about, but
listen, just between us, not just between us, but to all the people that are watching, I've told Cole many, many times he needs to find his way into the football coaching ranks because the guy knows that much about, especially offensive line football.
Yeah, I know my stuff, man. Hey, and if that's a little plug, if anybody wants to contact me, I'm available. You can hit my messenger up. I'm ready to go.
Oh, we breaking news right here, Professor. Cole Moore's ready to become a coach.
Except for Lowndes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Hey, we looking for a couple of coaches at the middle school level.
I've seen that. I started to send my email in, but I said, nah, I'll hold off.
I got you. Hey, listen, I appreciate you joining us tonight. I wanted you to come in tonight to talk about a couple of things. That funky new region that you guys are part of in this upcoming year. You had to correct me. I called it the new Region 1 5A, but it's actually Region 2 5A.
But I didn't want you to get up on live and you look like you don't look very smart when you say 1 5A, it's 2 5A.
That's exactly right. So the new 2 5A, let me go, if the audience doesn't know who's in that new region yet, listen to this. This might be the new region of doom.
It is the toughest region in the state. Now,
you got Coffee County, you got Houston County, Lee County, Northside Warner Robins, Thomas County Central, and Veterans. I didn't go back and do the math, but that might be, those three of those teams, Coffee, Lee, and Thomas County Central. How many state titles between them in the last 5 years?
Hold on. You forgot one team. Northside Warner Robins is also in that region as well.
Northside Warner Robins, exactly right.
Man, you had the double repeat for Lee County. I'll just go back. What a job Fabrizio did. Everybody knows, but up till 2 years ago, I want not only in that run, he had 2 state championships, but remember he had 4 consecutive region championships until Justin Rogers turned Thomas County Central around and ended up winning that region 2 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of people, as far as the highest classification in South Georgia, Justin Rogers, not Justin, but Dean Fabrizio was the only coach left in South Georgia that had won a state championship. And Lee County's tough. As far as this region, man, if you are lucky enough to be the top 4 teams in this region, you're going to be battle tested. And then we know Coffee was the defending 5A champ from last year. And then you got the defending state champs who I think is I'm not pulling the plug or nothing, but I think the best team, regardless of classification, uh, is
Thomas
Thomas
County
County
Central.
Central.
Yeah. Are you going to make that claim going into this new year, even with Thomas County Central's graduation?
Yes, Thomas County Central is going to be just fine, and I think last year was the same thing. Oh my! Thomas County Central lost Sam Brown, who broke Charlie Ward's record. What on earth is Thomas County Central going to do? They lost we call them they lost Tyler Floyd. Why? I mean, he looked like Kadarius Toney that year. Man, lost the 4-star. Lost his name, but went to Colorado, lost him as well. What on earth is Thomas County Central going to do? Next man up was the mentality for Thomas County Central. And do realize Central did lose a lot.
Yeah.
But 4-star, I call him an athlete because kid's just phenomenal. Plays corner for us, D. Reddick, who I think at one point last year in the region, he went like 3 consecutive games with a punt return.
Yeah.
And also set the tone in the state championship game. A lot of people know about offense. He had like I think a 50-yard kickoff return to kind of boost this thing up, and Central just took off from there. Then you add your 4-star edge rusher, junior Big Cam Brooks, who's got every offer in America, and you also return your starter, who's 15-0. Can't get much better than that. LG, undefeated. I think the biggest question mark for Central is that offensive line.
Yeah.
But I say that, but those kids are big. I think Central is built to sustain. It's like Justin Rogers said. This was not a rebuild; it's a return. So now what? You're 28-1 in the last 2 years. Now it's about sustaining that success. Keep that drive going. I think Central's going to be just fine. I would not worry if I was a Central fan. But hey, that ninth grade group we got has never lost, LG. They've never lost. So that group's going to be very, very special. Justin Rogers said himself, he said, man, I cannot wait to get my hands on that 8th grade team. And now he has them.
I'm looking at 2 dates on the Thomas County Central schedule. You probably could guess which dates I'm talking about. One is September 27th at Lee County, and the other one is the last regular season game of the year in Thomasville when you guys host Coffee County.
Yeah, well, it's not no friendly confines when you come to the Jackets Nest. I can promise you that.
My question for you is, the first question is, does Thomas County Central have one loss on its record when they host Coffee County or no?
No.
Okay.
And a lot of people are going to say,
pretty big prediction there.
Lee County, look, Usmani Cromar, and everybody's talking about, yes, he's a great running back, but what Thomas County Central has done, they've kind of eliminated with him the last 2 years. It's kind of body blow. Armand, when you get in that body blow, that 15-round bout, you know how it is. You put them body blows and you keep pushing and you keep punching and you keep punching. Eventually, that man gonna get wore out. He gonna get tired.
Yeah, now, I mean, it's when you got a good running back, right? Here's the thing. I can remember it didn't matter who we played. We played Valdosta or we played Moultrie. It didn't matter. Coffee County, when they had Lewis Smith, hit him every play. Every play, you hit him. You hit him. And there's a way. And then by the time the third, fourth quarter rolls around, they're beat up, they're tired. Now,
yeah, I mean,
the truly great running backs will fight through that adversity. So we'll see if the young man has grown by the time he gets to y'all.
Last year, I remember it was a big play. It was kind of going back and forth there. And it was like a 4th and 1, and Lee went for it, and Usmani Cromar got stood up at the line of scrimmage by Thomas County Central. I mean, just a phenomenal play by that central front. That the like the last 2 years, he's only broke one big run, and he's had over 60 carries against Thomas County Central, and everybody knows which one last year. Man, it took our breath away when they tied it up. We had it 24-17, and next thing you know, hole opens up. He jukes a guy, and he's gone. Now he is phenomenal, and look, wherever he goes to school at, he's just a baller, man. And you've got to he's going to get his yards, but you got to contain him, right? You can't let him get them 8-yard runs like he did against Houston. He had over 400 yards rushing. I mean, he beat Houston single handedly, and so.
So Jeff Fulp says, "Is this the Viking Nation or Jacket Nation?" Jeff, we're talking about everybody tonight. Everybody tonight. No, we're talking about Thomas County Central because we got, just a pretty good segue that Jeff is pointing out here is, what date is it? Is it August 16th? I can't remember. Let me pull it real fast. Oh, here it is. Okay, so, well, no. Yeah, August the 2nd. Man, that's early. August the 2nd over in Thomasville. Lowndes is going to be invading that Jackets nest for a preseason scrimmage against the Jackets. So what do you expect? Do you expect Lowndes to take a thumping over there? I know it's going to be a scrimmage game, but I know Lowndes is going to want to win that game. Thomas County Central is going to want to win that game, even though it's a scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Lowndes to see something that's going to help them later on in the year, and I mean that with I told you I was not going to come out here and disrespect you, disrespect Lowndes, but the physicality, the brand of football that Central has been playing, and they will continue to play, is going to be very physical, and that's something that Coach Carter's trying to create at Lowndes. That physicality. So I believe it will help you because you're not gonna. There's not another defensive end on your schedule that is going to be as good as number 9.
You don't think so?
If he plays, no,
okay.
Yeah. As a sophomore last year, he had 3 sacks in the state championship game. He's a phenomenal athlete. His first step reminds me of a lot of Dante Fowler.
Yeah.
Out of high school and out of college, he's got a fast first step. And I think seeing an offense that you're going to see is going to help you too. I mean, they're very physical. I'm
telling you, man, this is not last year's Lowndes team. This year's Viking squad is very much improved over last year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
You're not buying it, huh?
I'm not buying, not yet. And I'm saying this with respect, not yet. But I do think Lowndes will make it competitive. But I don't see them as far as the varsity goes. I do not see them beating Central or the JV.
So let me ask you this: everybody knowing that this is going to be a scrimmage game, how much do you really expect either coach to show? I think it's going to be as vanilla and plain.
I agree with you.
Just fresh rice, no salt, no butter, no nothing. It's just there.
I think you're going to run your base plays.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. But I believe. But I think Coach Carter has a little bit more to find out what he has, than what Justin has. Justin kind of knows what he has. He's got some key players returning. Because through the grapevine, I hear Lowndes is going to possibly start a new quarterback. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So
that grapevine is probably correct.
Do you really want to have a vanilla offense if you're Lowndes, or do you want to kind of see what you got? Because like Phil said, the region schedule, the region is wide open. So I think Lowndes has more to kind of find out. I mean, we know Lowndes. Lowndes has got athletes. They're going to have athletes. It's Lowndes football. But I do think it's vanilla. But I think Lowndes, if I was Coach Carter, which I'm not, but I would kind of try to find out what I had a little bit more. Maybe throw some deep passes, maybe throw some screens out there. Kind of see where your quarterback get his feet wet. Maybe even throw some slants to see how accurate he is in game time. It's a lot different between um, being accurate in practice and then when game time hits, you know what I'm saying? That pressure's on and you got to perform, right? So it's a lot different. As far as Central goes, you know what you got in your quarterback, Jalen Johnson. He's 15-0. I mean, how much better can you get coming into the season? So, but I still do think Central will win that scrimmage game. I don't ask me a score.
Hey, Cole, last question about TCC for me. Is there a Joe Burns on this team?
No, there could be.
What's his name?
We don't we just keep it hush hush. You know, my boys, they're gonna be fine. Everybody's talking about the losing Trey Britton. Phenomenal running back for us. Look, there's one thing about Thomas County Central, and I'm gonna let you know real quick. They keep running backs. It's like the University of Georgia. You best believe your bottom dollar, Thomas County Central is gonna have some running backs.
So Cole, if I'm right, the litmus tested running back from Thomas County Central is Joe Burns. Am I right or wrong? Is that who everybody?
Hey, now I'll tell you what. There's been a bunch that have come through there. A lot of people forget about Debrell Smiley, and which he was like a glorified fullback. But good luck trying to tackle that joker. Look, you got Joe Burns, Debrell Smiley, Adam Choice. You got a bunch of kids you can talk about that really or either played quarterback that ended up playing running back in college. So, you're going to see some things. I have been hearing a lot about Amon Ponder. He was a short running back. Did really well for us in spare back. AJ Clark returns, and Central's fine. They're not hitting the panic button, and I don't expect the fans, after hearing what they heard at the beginning of last year, oh, what are we going to do? They're fine. Lowndes is a situation of where, they kind of need to get this thing right. And you know what I'm saying? Because of what's going on in the region, it's going to be like, okay, we got to control this region. Who's going to step up and be that team? Colquitt County has the baby hogs, what I'm calling them right now. But I wouldn't count Colquitt out either.
Yeah.
But I stick to my pick, and a lot of people ain't gonna like it, and they're gonna think I'm a hater. Valdosta to Camden County for the region title.
Woo! Man.
And I understand everybody's like, well, Cole,
that deserves a penalty box for that. Oh my God, I can't let you get away with it. You got me all flustered with that one.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I figured I'd get on the fun. Y'all was talking about Region 1. But yeah, as far as Region 2-5A, though, I mean, it's going to be a rough road to get those top 3 seeds. And I think you're going to look at Thomas County Central, Lee County, and Coffee. They're going to be in that top 3 seed. The only thing is, I hear a lot of good things out of Northside. And everybody's kind of forgot about him, because the Hoco's kind of dominated and been that 4th seed the last couple of years or around that 3rd and 4th seed. Do not discredit Northside Warner Robins. I think they're coming in at the rankings around 10, 11. So, you're actually looking at 4 or 5 teams that are going to be in 2-5A that are going to be ranked inside the top 10. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough classification. And then you add the defending 7A state champs, Milton, they're in 5A.
Here's how I'm handicapping the new Region 2-5A. You ready for this, Cole? Number 4, Northside Warner Robins.
Ouch.
Number 3, Lee County. Number 2, Thomas County Central. And number 1 that takes the region title on November 1st in Thomasville, the Coffee County Trojans.
Don't buy the Kool-Aid. I'm close. I'm close to that. I'm close to that. And I posted this about a month ago. People had been asking my opinion on it, and I said Central #1. I still think Central has one of the best defenses in the state, and they're going to have a pretty good offense to go with it. The Lee and Coffee game, I gave it to Lee, and I told people, I said this is simply on home field advantage. This is in Lee County, and Lee is very tough.
Yeah.
At home, and you can flip a coin. I could go Coffee too. Coffee, what Mike Coe has done is phenomenal. The only other record better than his in that span is Justin Rogers at Thomas County Central. You know, he's done a phenomenal job. You know, led Coffee to their first ever state championship.
Yeah.
They're going to be there. And they're going to be in the mix. And you best believe your bottom dollar. They're going to be ready. And I know you can't put a lot into, your little summer scrimmages and all, but Coffee looked pretty good without some of their key pieces that wasn't there. And I think Coffee can go. It's going to be a tough region, and I think you go Hoco and Northside. I'm still going to go with Hoco because, they still got AJ. AJ Hill's still a good quarterback there. Only problem with them is I think they graduated all 5 of their starting offensive linemen. So it's gonna be tough, man. I know you got to give Chris Pace and that Coffee bunch some love, man. But it's okay, man.
Well, listen, Cole, that's going to wrap us up for tonight, man. We're going overtime. Armand, he's reached his limit. He's been a trooper, dude. I got to tell you, going to the dentist today with a root canal, coming on to the show tonight, soldiering it out. Armand, appreciate it, Professor, for joining us tonight.
Thank you. And
thank y'all for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Can I get one special shout out? Just one.
Absolutely.
I want to shout out to my daughter, Shamia Dennis. You graduated from the Lowndes County High School. Congratulations. We are so proud of you. We love you. And shout out to and congratulations to everyone who graduated over the weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, y'all be careful out there because this time of year, people just go crazy on the roads and with their ATVs, that kind of stuff. Just be careful because we want to see you back healthy in the fall.
To the young kids out there, we've seen so much of this in our area. Like, please be careful. Like, be careful. Be responsible. Man, because 16, 15, 14, that's too early. It's too early to be put in the ground. And that's all I'm saying. We joke around here on this, but I'm just spreading love, man. It's a dangerous thing. Ain't nothing wrong with having fun, but be responsible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, guys, we are going to because this the school season has ended, it's going to be kind of dead around here for a while as far as athletic wise. So we're going to take a little break as well, and then come back sometime probably this summer as the 7-on-7 start to heat up when we have a better look at how the football programs are shaping up. So we're going to take a break as well. You guys enjoy your summer. Thank you so much for joining us. Cole, thank you so much for joining us tonight, dude.
All right, man. Thank you. I still need my overtime pay, but it's all good.
It's all good. Well, guys, you've been watching the Viking Nation Live tonight on behalf of Phil Jones, Armand the Professor, Cole Moore, and our other superfan, Chase Garnto, who couldn't be here tonight. I'm Larry Godwin. You guys have been watching Viking Nation Live, and we'll get you guys catch you next week. Well, not next week, but next time, like I just said. As always, may God bless you guys, and go Vikings.
Go Vikings.
Say it, Cole. Say it. Go Vikings. See you guys.